Are we listening? Are we planting seeds and finding better ways to build a better world? Find a better way to build a better world. Oh, there's a brand new generation. There's a brand new generation. Oh, for a brand new healthy world. Yeah, yeah. For a healthy world. Yeah. All together now, we are reaching out and finding better ways to build a better world. And find a better way to build a better world. Oh, there's a brand new generation. There's a brand new generation. Oh, for a brand new healthy world. Yeah, yeah. For a healthy world. Oh, there's a brand new generation. There's a brand new generation. Oh, for a brand new healthy world. Yeah, yeah. For a healthy world.
Welcome to the second annual Extreme Tech Challenge, AgTech and Food Tech Startup Innovation Challenge in collaboration with the World Food Forum. My name is Selina Lindner, and I serve as a global ambassador for Extreme Tech Challenge. It is my pleasure to host this year's World Food Forum Startup Innovation Awards, powered by Extreme Tech Challenge. Today, you will meet the top 8 startups across the 4 competition categories: better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life. Each company will pitch for 3 minutes, followed by a 5-minute Q&A with the esteemed judging panel. At the end of today's program, we will announce the winner for each competition category, as well as an overall special award winner that truly embodies the healthy diets, healthy planet theme of this year's competition. But first, I would like to introduce Victoria Slivkov, our Executive Managing Director at Extreme Tech Challenge, for her welcome remarks.
Hi, everybody. It's so wonderful to be here, and I'm really excited to see so many of you joining us from all over the world. The Extreme Tech Challenge Startup Innovation Awards, in collaboration with the World Food Forum, is a global startup competition established to support and showcase tech entrepreneurs driving the sustainable transformation of agri-food systems in support of ending global hunger. I am so pleased that XTC is partnering again with the UN Food and Agriculture Organization to elevate these innovative tech startups solving global challenges aligned with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Our organizations share a mutual goal and passion to empower youth to transform our agri-food systems to create a better food future for all. The World Food Forum has served as an important network to activate this youth-led movement initiated by the Youth Committee of the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. Inspired by the UN SDGs, XTC is the world's largest ecosystem and platform to showcase the most innovative, purpose-driven startup companies. We provide promising entrepreneurs with the opportunity for global visibility, such as showcasing at a big event here, access to potential venture capital investment, corporate strategic partnerships with leading companies, and world-class mentorship to help these entrepreneurs pioneer their technological breakthroughs. Covering all technology verticals from ag tech, food tech, to fintech, digital health, Web3, and more, each year we attract thousands of startup founders from over 100 countries applying to our competitions. And our global community is comprised of startups, venture capital firms, Fortune 100 corporations, universities, startup ecosystem builders, foundations, NGOs, and IGOs such as the UNFAO, and tech conferences, all working together to advance human and planetary health. In addition to the Startup Showcase today, we will also have a panel discussion on how corporations can engage startups and young entrepreneurs to drive innovations that improve the world. I look forward to learning from the startup founders presenting today and the public and private sector leaders on how their work contributes to catalyzing a better food, agri-food future worldwide. Enjoy the rest of the program. You're in great hands with my colleague, Selena, and I hope that you'll be inspired to join the Extreme Tech Challenge Network to advance tech innovations that address the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Now, let me bring you up to speed on the highlights of Extreme Tech Challenge and our collaboration with the World Food Forum last year.
We have many difficult challenges that we are all facing. So what can you do about that using technology and changing our behaviors?
The XTC was designed to help highlight companies solving for the world's toughest challenges.
If you're a founder of a startup, you want to make a real impact and you want to go global, then the best platform you can choose is Extreme Tech Challenge.
Many of our generation kind of mess up the planet. You guys might be able to fix it.
Thank you. And now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce the Deputy Director General of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and Chair of today's jury, Beth Beckdahl. Welcome, Beth.
Thanks very much, Selena and Victoria. We miss you being here with us for this second event. Let me also just thank Young and Bill for the leadership that they have provided in founding XTC and bringing this partnership together. So Selena, we look forward to doing this really amazing event with you today. For 2 years now, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the World Food Forum have put together and partnered on this Extreme Tech Challenge annual Startup Innovation Award event. The importance of innovation for sustainable change is embedded in all of our missions. And it's clear, as you've seen the presentation on XTC, that their mission is to enable collaboration between startups, global corporations, and organizations like ours to really bring about that change. It is really fundamentally clear that it is within startups that most of our innovative solutions for world challenges can be found. They can be game changers at a country level, at a regional level, and certainly for global impact. And startup leaders or entrepreneurs have a special ability, I think, to see solutions within this very complex and difficult global landscape that we find ourselves in today. These entrepreneurs take on ambitious roles, and they also assume business risks that many corporations watch with great interest. Leading a startup takes courage, but it can also bring great benefit, not only to the business founder, but to all of us who can benefit from that ingenuity and innovation. This is especially true when the mission of an entrepreneur is to create global change, like many of our applicants here today. FAO's aspirations for better production, better nutrition, a better environment, and a better life are what is reflected in the organizational visions of each of our finalists today. This year, we have, like last year, an incredibly wide range of innovations that will be on display for all of us. These are needed to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Whether it's through the development of agricultural networks for carbon capture, it might be cellular culture-based fish production for ocean conservation, you're going to get to see and hear from teams who have created economic and social opportunities, but also are focused on protecting the environment. Let me highlight just a few of the additional innovations that you're going to see today. One will be focused on solid-state fungal fermentation that can improve nutrition. So for those of you not familiar with that innovation, get ready. That's an exciting one to be hearing about today. We will also have a presentation on portable, low-cost spectrometers used to improve animal health and to increase farm prosperity for small dairy producers. There will be remote sensing and artificial intelligence, all used to decrease risks and improve profitability of farms. We will see how new materials, such as bio-based compostable plastics, are reducing the environmental burden of plastic waste in the environment. And there will be impact-initiated financial technologies for rural and remote communities, many of which are there to provide support to people who are historically marginalized from commerce. And last but not least, we will also have a look at the potential of advanced bio-based ingredients that can ultimately change the nutrition profile of foods and ultimately help tackle obesity. So above all, despite the uniqueness and the creativity and the innovation that will be here in the presentations today, the unifying factor for all of them is that they aim to address major challenges facing the world. And they are looking to create a business based on the triple bottom line philosophy of people, planet, and prosperity. While many of the startups who we will hear from today are focused on technology-driven innovation and creating even intellectual property, there are others who are coming up with solutions that combine long-standing elements of global food traditions and bring social and organizational innovation in some very unprecedented ways. Some of our most important innovations, though, bring into question why things are always done the way they are. And our best innovations suggest, I think, that there are indeed times ahead for all of us where we need new thinking, new collaborations, and we need to share knowledge to create a better future. So we are excited to get this process underway. I hope all of you are as well. It's a great day for us to be able, as FAO, Selena, to celebrate the success of all of these finalists, of the great partnership that has developed between XTC and FAO. So with that, let's get started. And as Victoria said, let's get inspired. Selena, over to you.
Are we listening? Are we planting seeds and finding better ways to build a better world? Find a better way to build a better world. Oh, there's a brand new generation. There's a brand new generation. Oh, for a brand new healthy world. Yeah, yeah. For a healthy world. Yeah. All together now, we are reaching out and finding better ways to build a better world. We find a better way to build a better world. Oh, there's a brand new generation. There's a brand new generation. Oh, for a brand new healthy world. Yeah, yeah. For a healthy world. Oh, there's a brand new generation. There's a brand new generation. Oh, for a brand new healthy world. Yeah, yeah. For a healthy world.
Okay, so that was a great song, I would say. Thank you, a healthy world, yeah. And that's why I'm bringing in an investor's perspective to our jury now. I am pleased to introduce and welcome my colleague, Nicolas Autre, partner at Walden Catalyst Ventures, which is an early stage deep tech fund which is focused on AI and data, which was founded by two semiconductor industry captains, Yang Son, co-founder of Extreme Tech Challenge, and most recently the corporate president and chief strategy officer of Samsung Electronics, and Lip Bhutan, the executive chairman of Cadence Design Systems. Joining our jury from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development is Irit Cecaci, Head of Advisory for Agribusiness. Welcome, Irit. And then finally, Dr. Usmane Badiani, founder and executive chairperson of Academia 2063, an Africa-based non-profit research organization. Thank you, judges, for extending your time and expertise for our session today. Now, please join me to congratulate the 8 startup finalists that have shown the greatest potential for a positive global impact in transforming agri-food systems. Today, each startup will deliver a 3-minute pitch, followed by a 5-minute Q&A with the judges. But before we turn our attention to their pitches, I want to extend a special thank you to our round 1 expert evaluators and our semi-final judges for their time and dedication to help us elevate the deserving time high potential startups posed to make big impact. Lastly, I want to take this time to appreciate the dedication and hard work of both the Extreme Tech Challenge and the World Food Forum's teams in making this startup competition a success. Seeing the outstanding efforts of the teams and the startups' innovations ideas is truly inspiring and humbling. Let us now meet the finalists. We will begin with the better production category. The startups in this category are working to identify pathways to ensure sustainable food consumption and production patterns through efficient supply chains at local, regional, and global levels, in turn ensuring resilient and sustainable agri-food systems in a changing climate and environment. Our first finalist in the better production category is Bumitra, a US-based startup working to accelerate climate mitigation and adaptation on its planetary scale through the action of farmers. Welcome to the stage, Annie Root Kenny, Director of Business Development at Bumitra.
Thank you so much. May I start presenting?
Yes, you may.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for this opportunity. We are Bhumitra, and as you know, we're trying to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere on a planetary scale by empowering farmers and landowners. So global warming is here, and the planet is heating up faster than expected. At the same time, the FAO estimates that 40 to 50% of the world's soils are degraded, causing an annual loss of $400 billion. And smallholder farmers are struggling, including Kavemba. Despite having one of the lowest carbon footprints in the world, she and her family will be the most affected due to the effects of climate change. And without only having $5 worth of disposable income on a monthly basis, she does not have the tools to adapt to these changes. Bhumitra is an ecosystem which which in Sanskrit translates to friend of the earth, is an ecosystem which aims to empower the 570 million smallholder farmers of the world by providing them access to proprietary AI and making carbon markets more inclusive. The ecosystem that Bhumitra is building will help farmers not only adapt to, as well as mitigate the effects of climate change. Bhumitra does this by partnering with organizations like Yara, the World Food Program, Mercy Corps, and enables them to adopt improved land management practices, which improve soil fertility and increase soil carbon. Bhumitra then quantifies these increases using proprietary AI and remote sensing capabilities to generate verified carbon credits, which are sold to Fortune organizations who have net zero targets. A vast majority of every credit sold is transferred back to the farmers and local communities. Apart from accessing carbon finance, farmers in our ecosystem are provided with 10-meter resolution insights of nitrogen, phosphorus, soil moisture, access to knowledge and extension services by local partners, and market linkages for their crops, among many, many more activities. We do this without charging the farmer a single penny for these services. Through our projects in Mexico and India, we aim to transfer $30 to $35 million back to the communities. And through our project with the Farm to Market Alliance and the World Food Program in Kenya, we see the opportunity to transfer $30 million on an annual basis while removing 5 to 6 million tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Our scalable technology and business model allows each and every project to be self-sustainable 16 to 18 months from initiation, and we are poised to capture 20% of the voluntary markets by 2030, translating into billions of dollars worth of climate finance all across the global south. Our team, which has grown from a few employees to 50 in the past 8 months, includes seasoned operators in the food and ag business, people who have deep expertise in satellite technology, and folks who have had successful exits from previous startups. Finally, the voluntary carbon markets are set to hit $50 billion by 2030. Please help us provide a huge chunk of this finance to farmers like Kavemba all across the global south. I thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, Anirudh from Bhumitra. Thank you for that inspiring pitch. And now we have some Q&A, I would assume. Yes.
Hi, thank you very much for your presentation. It's really great. And I wanted to ask you about your geographical coverage. Maybe you had a lot of examples and good results already in India and the US. And then you mentioned Kenya. So in terms of geography, which is the market that you are actually looking into, and where you think, as your vision, this can bring most of the excellent, amazing result in capturing carbon and then transform this in carbon credits for farmers? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that question. And I think there was a lag in the screen presentation. So our current project portfolio only focuses on the global south. So we have listed projects, which can include a 2 million acre grassland project in the Chihuahua and Sonoran deserts. Again, a 2 million acre grasslands, regenerative grazing grasslands project in the Pampas region. Of course, we're working with hundreds of thousands of smallholder farmers in India, as well as initiating our project on November 15th with the help of the World Food Program in Kenya. So the idea is to make carbon markets more inclusive and to enable farmers and landowners across the global south. And the technology will allow us to scale all across the global south. So our future regions include Tanzania, Ethiopia, other parts of Africa, Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, as well as the huge grasslands and grazing lands in Central Asia.
So I have two questions. One is, first, how you price the emissions that you are capturing to the private sector? So what is the mechanism you use? Because that's a big issue right now in terms of pricing emissions. And the second is how you measure them. Because you said remote sensing, but remote sensing is not enough. You cannot get the precision you need. So many companies are working on sensors on the ground. So how you do that? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. Firstly, the price. Now, the voluntary carbon markets are getting well established. And there are various indices out there, all the way from S&P Global to Expansive, which track this commodity. So we always price ourselves against these well-established indices. And since this is carbon removal, which is taking place with a high degree of traceability and transparency, we always try and beat these indices. So that is one mechanism we are using to come to a price discovery. Regarding the measurements, yes, we are a purely remote sensing based technology. Our technology has been vetted by a UNFCCC certified carbon auditor. So yes, we use purely remote sensing, and we use 100+ satellites across the electromagnetic spectrum, not just visual wavelengths, to do our measurements. One final thought on that is that we do not have to establish precision on a farm level basis, but rather on a project level basis, because the number of points, even with a 10-meter resolution of a 1-acre farm versus a 10-acre farm is different. So yes, on a project level basis, the uncertainty level that is set by the standards body, we are way below that. And of course, all of our credits are third-party certified by the world's leading standards body.
Maybe doubling down on that question. So I think in the presentation, you mentioned improved land management practices. So how do you balance, let's say, how do you enforce the sustainability and the long-term commitment of these improved practices versus the short-term benefit of earning revenues from the carbon credits? That's one question. And then the second question is more around the go-to-market. How do you reach out to these farmer communities, which are all over, and maybe small farmer communities? That's one. And then how do you also reach out to the carbon credits issuers or buyers?
Thank you so much for that question. Yes, you're absolutely right. The long-term sustainability of the carbon which is captured and stored is what is most important. So that is why we believe that the carbon finance that we are providing is probably the third most important aspect of the ecosystem that we are building. First is the fact that we are providing them knowledge and extension support through our partners who are on the ground, who have been working with their communities for a long, long time. Secondly, we are providing the partners and the farmers 10-meter resolution, crop-specific insights, soil moisture, which is updated daily, nitrogen levels, which are updated weekly, which can be converted into actionable insights through our local partners. And our local partners, we have more than 100 partners across the world. As I mentioned, they could be large corporates like Yara, they could be the World Food Program, they could be the American Bird Conservancy. So, and of course, thirdly is the fact that we provide them carbon finance. So yes, this is how we try and ensure that not just by bringing them a couple of dollars or $10 to change the practice, but rather providing them an ecosystem, which is, as I mentioned, which we do not charge anything at all. How do we reach out to the farmers and the buyers? How we reach out to the farmers is once again through our partners, and how we do this self-sustainably on a year-on-year basis is by providing the partners a very, very healthy percentage of the credit value. So the idea always is to provide almost 3/4 of all carbon finance back to the community, which includes the farmer and the partner. And the partner does the onboarding of the farmer. And how do we reach out to the buyers? To be very honest, buyers have been reaching out to us. We have very, very large futures contracts currently with us, which we are trying to fulfill. And all of which, as I mentioned earlier, which are priced at the well-established indices or slightly higher than them.
Go ahead. A quick follow-up question.
One last one, I think, and then we have to move on.
On the remote sensing technology in your AI, which of the gases are you tracking through your AI? Which of the emissions, which of the gases are you tracking through your AI? And as far as I understand, anything below ground is hard to track through remote sensing. So how complete are you in your algorithm, and really are you measuring the right things? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. So currently we are tracking soil carbon, which of course means removal of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. We also have models which track the nitrogen levels, but again, we are not tracking nitrous gas emissions right now. So yes, soil carbon is something which we are looking at, but in the future, in very near future, we will look at methane and nitrous oxide as well. Yes, below the ground is something which is difficult to track. Once again, what I can tell you is that we do not self-certify our credits, but rather our credits are certified by the world's leading third-party standards body, where audits are done on all of our fields, and our technology has been vetted by investors like Yara, as well as a UN-certified carbon auditor who has looked at the source code and given us their stamp of approval. And finally, before issuance of the credits, the auditors do come to a certain set of fields do soil sampling, compare the uncertainty analysis between the soil sample and our AI readings, and then only are we allowed to issue credits. So yes, please do trust the third party, which is a very well-established third party based in Washington, DC, and that is how that is how we plan to make carbon markets more inclusive, by allowing any farmer, whether he or she has 0.5 acres or 100,000 hectares of land, to gain access to the very, very large and growing carbon markets.
Selena, if I might, really quickly, this is a super fast question, but if the team's going to continue to grow, what skill sets do you need to keep advancing with the business model and the plans for growth?
Yes, thank you so much for that question. So of course, there are two aspects of our business. One is the technology, which is very high tech, and then of course is the relationships with the farmers. So we always need to, first of all, on the technology side, we need to hire the best talent, which looks at not just soil carbon, but other gases as well, and not even other gases, but other sources of sequestration, whether it be mangroves, which we can help the communities, or whether it be oceans. And then, of course, we need strategic people who have the ability to navigate partners, different cultures, to make them feel comfortable so that they can go out and onboard the farmers for us. For example, just one final thought, in India, we have a set of partners, more than 36 partners who have onboarded 107,000 odd farmers spanning 300,000 acres in 103 or 104 days. So yes, we have to build those relationships with these farmers so that they can go out and tell them to onboard the farmers onto our platform.
Great. Thank you, Anirudh. I hope that answered all the questions. Thank you for those intelligent questions, really, and thank you for your patience. We run a little bit over time, so let us now welcome our second finalist in the better production category, which is Umami Meats. It is a Singapore-based startup cultivating a sustainable seafood future. Their cultured fish is nutritionally equivalent to traditional seafood and provides a delicious culinary experience while protecting our oceans. Welcome. Mihir, you may present. Oh, thank you. Welcome here. Oh, yes. Yeah, perfect.
Thank you very much. The slides coming up too?
Slides are coming, yes.
Oh, wait, I think...
Maybe you can introduce yourself first.
My name is Mihir Prashad. I'm the founder and CEO of Umami Meats. And I'll tell you a bit more about how we're cultivating the future of sustainable seafood by crafting fish that's cultivated, not caught. Here we go. So we're crafting sustainable seafood that's cultivated, not caught. And our vision is to produce seafood that is as good as traditional seafood, but doesn't come with all the downsides that we are increasingly becoming aware of, which include high mercury content, increased contamination from microplastics, and antibiotics, residues from farmed fish. So our method involves harvesting a 2 to 5 gram sample from a fish, isolating a stem cell that can produce muscle, fat, and connective tissue, and then growing those cells in a bioreactor, like a beer fermenter, to produce large quantities of these cells and turn them into mature muscle and fat. We then take the mature muscle and fat and structure a wide variety of seafood products. And our goal is to enable a more food secure and greater food sovereignty for countries, while also decreasing greenhouse emissions about half compared to aquaculture, and protecting and restoring biodiversity for the almost 93% of fish that are considered to be fully or overfished out of the oceans. We align with many of the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly around bringing food supply to cities to make cities more resilient and sustainable for the future, and eliminating the world-spanning supply chains that currently exist to produce seafood. Our technology is a platform that allows us to produce cultivated seafood products more quickly and more reliably than if we just did experimental development in-house in a lab. So we combine high throughput screening and automation with a computational platform that allows us to model bioprocesses and to use machine learning to help us predict the next experiment that we should run so that we run a more efficient process that costs less and gets products to market faster. And our approach is helping to transform the economics of producing cultivated cells. So we're moving from lab to pilot right now, and our target out of the pilot is to be at price parity with premium seafood products like eel, like tuna in sushi chains, et cetera. And as we get to a full-scale production system, to be manufacturing at price parity with fish like salmon. The species we're choosing to focus on are those that are endangered, that can't be easily farmed, and where people want to eat more than we can make. So fundamentally, we either have to find new supply, or these fish are going extinct in the 2040s. And we're starting with Japanese eel, big-eyed tuna, and red snapper as the 3 initial species. Collectively, there's about a $50 billion purchasing demand every year for these 3 fish. And our strategy is to partner with seafood suppliers and distributors and with value-added seafood manufacturers to take fish that they already make and basically replace the part where they have to run a fleet, but then fit into the existing ecosystem so that these companies can produce products localized to their markets with their knowledge of how to reach consumers in each country, and we're powering the back end as the intel inside. And we bring to bear a strong team that has helped us to make tremendous traction in just the last few years. So we're a 2.5-year-old company. We've got 3 product prototypes already in co-development with manufacturers, and we have cell lines from almost half a dozen species now in our bank and growing. And we have our first MOU to jointly develop a product to bring to market, ideally by the end of 2023. And on our team, just to highlight a couple of folks, we have 13 people on the team now full-time. 11 of them are R&D staff, and include the likes of Dr. Vijay Kumar with 20 years of experience developing 100+ fish cell lines, the world's first fish cell bank in India. And Dr. Lim Choon Gyat, who did his PhD and his postdoc in turning muscle into mature cells using only food-grade components. Thanks very much for your time, and look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you, Miha.
Thanks, great presentation. Quick question about what it takes for you to increase the size of the batch production from, let's say, 50 grams, if I understood correctly today, to 5 tons by 2025. So what are the main technology challenges you're going to have to solve? That's one. And 2, what about the food safety or food certification process that you have to go through, and where do you stand on that?
Yes, both critical challenges to getting to market. So first on scale up, we are actively working with companies that do industrial production of enzymes and other food products via similar processes to basically make a leap from what we're doing now and model how it will work at scale so we can de-risk at smaller scales. But then the rest of that has to be done just by taking the process, putting it into larger bioreactors, and stabilizing the process so that we know the parameters it's meant to run in. And a lot of that is done basically with building models, running processes, and then figuring out how to automate the control feedback loops so that the process stays within the desired parameter range. The biggest challenges that are faced to actually get that to scale are around you get heterogeneity in your system when you get bigger reactors. And that introduces uncertainty in a process. So better sensors and better control systems is really the key. On regulators, we're actively in discussions in Singapore and the US right now, and through collaborators are starting to look at Southeast Asia as well. And this is really our strategy because we're working with some of the biggest food companies in the world who have deep expertise in regulatory products and processes, and we want to tap into that know-how for each market that we go into. But our goal is to build a common dossier so that everything can be taken from our first countries and expanded outward.
Maybe a follow-up question on your ideal consumer, because I see you're really targeting the top market at this point. Do you have plans at some point when the technology is already, piloted, then to make it a bit more, let's say, affordable and to open up to more people this new innovative seafood?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's something that we think about a lot. One of our core values is that affordable, nutritious food is a human right. And I think that we're cognizant of the fact that new technology starts expensive, but we are very passionate about trying to make it affordable to everyone. I think the path is challenging to do that as a 100% cell-based product, but if you look at the opportunity to blend with hybrid plant-based ingredients or fungal ingredients to create products that have better flavoring, better nutrition, better sort of match the expectations of what a consumer would expect the real fish to taste like, I think that's a way that we can get products to the mass market consumer much more quickly. And it's one of the things we're looking at, particularly in fast-moving consumer goods opportunities or snack food opportunities. That's much more viable than going directly to a sushi chain and trying to convince people that that's the only place they can get the product.
Great, thank you, Mihir. Yeah, thank you also for the great presentation and explanation. I think we have to move on to our, proceed to the second category, actually. Thank you again, and sorry. Thank you. Yeah, we will move on to our second category, which is better nutrition. The startups in this category focus on ending hunger, achieving food security, and improving nutrition in all its forms. This includes promoting nutrition food and increasing access to healthy diets. Our first finalist in the better nutrition category is Faunatech, an Indian-based startup providing diagnostics for animal health and food quality. With their milk analysis platform, they are bringing the precision of blood and diagnostics to dairy. So, Faunatech. So I would like to introduce you to Rajat Padnia, CEO of Faunatech. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rajat Pandya. I am the co-founder and CEO at Faunatech. We are a diagnostics company based out of Bangalore and working on solving health problems and nutrition problems for the dairy sector to start with, and then moving on to other agro-based diagnostics. So that's where our first question comes from. Have you ever wondered where your milk came from? And that's where we feel that every drop of milk can tell us a lot about the health of the animal it came from, and also about the quality of milk which is being produced. The problem what we're looking at to start with is mastitis. Mastitis is another infection in the milk cattle that reduces milk productivity and eventually becomes chronic, leading to complete loss of production, and is the #1 cause for antibiotic residue in milk. 30%, more than 30% of milk cattle suffer from mastitis annually globally, and the number is huge to start in India alone, where we have 16 million farmers pouring on a regular basis. The key is to early detect the disease at farm level and to address mastitis and other diseases at the early stage. Faunatech is a smartphone handheld enabled connected diagnostic platform for screening milk quality, managing animal health, monitoring cattle health, and reducing antibiotic usage. Our key biomarkers are somatic cell count, BHB, and ketosis, which are the most important biomarkers for the dairy sector. Faunatech is a proprietary sensing technology that supports dry chemistry, lateral flow test, and direct spectral measurement of various fluids. We can detect 25 plus biomarkers, and we're starting with milk because that is the #1 product, milk as in the dairy sector. And we also plan on moving on to blood and diagnostics on grains and fish as we move forward. Our first market is in India, and we've validated our technology with top milk unions like Amul and Bamul, which are the #1 and 2 in India, and have achieved and demonstrated lab quality performance of our system to detect subclinical mastitis at an early stage. We have very high accuracy and specificity and sensitivity against the benchtop gold standard models. We are positioned to grow in India and then scale globally, and that's where we have partnered with 2 key distributors in India, and also have started our deployments with Amul and Bamul, the biggest milk unions, covering about 3.5 to 4 million farmers and about 6 million animals alone. That's just in 2 states. And we're looking forward to deploy our solutions at 5+ milk unions in the next 1 year, and then partner strategically globally with the likes of Delaware and Perkin-Elmer to grow on a global scale. Our vision goes beyond just dairy, and dairy is just the beginning, that's what we feel. And we're also adding up tests for histamine for fish, and then mycotoxins for grains as we move forward, which gives us a very global platform. We have a very strong team with biomedical engineering, background in biomedical engineering, diagnostics, business, product management, development, and operations. Along with myself, I have my co-founder Siddhant Jena, who has his experience on diagnostics in the last 15 years, and we also have Professor Tarun Khanna from Harvard Business School. We are backed by Beyond X Ventures Japan as our seed investors, and also from C-Camp in Bangalore. Thank you very much.
Can you tell us a little bit about the competition that you have in this particular sector and how you differentiate yourself from them?
Very interesting question. So I really don't want to say, but then right now we really don't have any specific competition in a point-of-care device. What we are competing with is California mastitis test, which is a very basic and raw mechanism, a testing solution to test mastitis at the farm level on one side. And the other side, we have the likes of Delaware cell counter or the machines from FOSS, which are the benchtop models. Obviously, difficult to be used at farm level and also a little on the expensive side. So that's where we see we fit in at a very, very important point as a point-of-care device, which can be used at the farm itself.
So 2 questions. First, what this has to do with nutrition? And the second one, because you are in better nutrition. So the second one is, the way the collection centers work is farmers come with their gallons of milk and they put it in the collection center. So they don't know the source of those gallons of milk that they bring. They don't know from which cow they come. So the collection center is not the point to do this test. It's at the farm. Right. So how you do it? How is your business model working on this?
Very interesting. So how we're going about in India is that with the milk unions and the large brands like private brands like Lesne, Tirumala, and other brands, is that we've deployed the solutions, deployed the device and technology at the DCS level, and then testing the pooled milk sample, which is coming in from the farmer on a regular basis. And then after funneling it down, we're then moving on to the farm to detect and test for each individual animals, where we see a spike on the pooled sample from each farmer. So we're going on a funneled approach on a DCS model, where the average farmer number is about 50 to 60. And then also on the second model, we're deploying the technology at the large farms, where the farms are, the animals are about 80 to 100 in number. So the device is being deployed there directly and used for individual animal. So that's answer to one of your questions. The second is on better nutrition is that we are focusing on point A, detecting and doing the diagnosis of critical diseases at early stage. And the aim is to eventually reduce the antibiotic usage in the supply chain and in our glasses. So what we see is that early detection is the key to manage the diseases and health of animal at early stage by using non-antibiotic mechanisms, and then eventually follow on reducing the antibiotic residue in the supply chain.
Can I follow up on that one? Because I think that's where your value proposition resides, right? Early detection should lead to a different cost of treatment.
Yes.
How do you get to the different cost of treatment, and how much does it save in terms of antibiotics or in terms of milk production? Do you have those numbers?
Yeah. Very, very, very interesting question. So on numbers, we've done in our seen in our initial pilots in the last 1 year that the milk production has increased by 23% for each farm. The animal health numbers, the health of animals have increased. In fact, they've gone better by 55%, where we've been able to reduce the clinical stages for mastitis by 55% overall. And in turn, we've seen about 10,000 rupees of savings, which is roughly about 100, 110, 120 euros or dollars to save for each farmer on an individual animal basis. Because there's one direct cost, which is the veterinarian cost or the medication cost, which is about 3,000 rupees. And there's the other indirect cost, which is the loss of production in milk, which is about 7,000 rupees, which is a huge loss, which we cannot see, because once the animal gets sick, you lose production for 20 days, minimum 20 days. And then, so combining together, there's a huge increment in saving for the farmer.
Well, thank you, Rajat, CEO of Faunatech. Thank you for those.
Thank you very much.
Great presentation, really. Thank you. Let's now welcome our second finalist in the Better Nutrition category. Kinoko Tech, an Israel-based startup that has created a unique fermentation platform, allowing them to grow superfood in a new way. With the powers of plants and the magic of fungi, they have created a super nutritious product. Welcome virtually, Jasmine Ravid, CEO of Kinoko Tech.
Thank you. I will share my screen with you. Okay. So hi, everyone. I'm Jasmine. I'm one of the 3 co-founders and CEO of Kinoko Tech. And in Kinoko Tech, what we do is called solid state fermentation, or simply growing fungi, mushrooms on top of edible plant-based ingredients. You can see it right here. We've grown our mushroom on chickpea. And the reason we do this strange thing is that we really want to find a more sustainable solution to feed humanity. We are 3 scientists. We met doing our PhD 3 years ago, and ever since then, we've been facing this problem. And the size of this problem calls for a lot of different solutions. But what we see when we look right now in the market is that right now the solutions are all focused on plant-based. And not only they're focused on plant-based, they're focused on this really processed plant-based product. Because actually, to answer customers' demand with the texture and the taste, what most companies are doing is that they're taking really healthy chickpeas, soy, lentils, and then they are processing them to create the texture desirable, the taste desirable, ending up with the product that when we looked at it as a consumer, we simply saw a solution that is not good enough for us to feed our kids on a daily basis, because it was not nutritious enough and it was not affordable enough. And what we wanted to do is something completely different. We said, let's go back to this original, really healthy legumes and grains and find a biological way to create this desirable texture and taste that we are looking for in our food. And not only that, during this biological process, which is the fungi fermentation, we are creating this desirable texture and taste, not damaging the nutritional value, but we are elevating it, because fermentation adds so much unique nutritional value. So this is the process. It's kind of like agriculture, but we are not growing plants. We are growing fungi mycelium, which is the root-like structure of the mushroom, and not growing it on soil, but growing it on legumes and grains in the whole form. And the end-up product after 4 days of fermentation is a hybrid. It's a synergy between the fungi and the legumes. Here you can see lentils. And the fungi is both an ingredient in the product, but also the processing system, because during that 4 days of fermentation, there is the creation of this juicy, fibrous texture in a completely natural way. There is the creation of delicious, rich umami flavors. And there is a huge improvement in the nutritional value, because the fungi is eating away the simple carbohydrate, improving the protein quality and level, adding a lot of very unique dietary fiber. So just taking this already healthy food and transforming it into a superfood, basically. And the product that we are growing are either these huge chunks that you can slice or cube and use as a replacement to any kind of animal-based or plant-based product, but we can also grow it into 3D structure, because our fungi will grow into any 3D structure we will give it. So these sausages and patties you see here, they were grown into their structure. So again, we want that our main value is farm to fork in its truest form. We want to grow it, to harvest it, and to put it on people's plate. Our business model is B2B, and we are already developing a line of products that we can start selling next year together with a big CPG food company here in Israel. And hopefully following that, we're going to reach out to US and Europe. And of course, that when we think of our solution, it has to be, both ways. It has to be really healthy for humans, but it also has to be really healthy for consumers. And our pilot production site right now in Israel is producing in a zero waste platform, which means there's no side stream. It's produced with a fraction of the water, energy, land, and CO2 emissions of animal-based product. And it's a complete indoor system. So you can basically put it everywhere around the world, including rural areas, places where food security is an issue. And you can grow this food in an affordable way. Food is a commodity. It cannot be a premium. It's something that is really important to us. And already right now we can get a price parity with animal-based foods. And while everyone else are producing more foods, we are really focusing on growing it. We are now doing a pre-A round, and if it's something that's interesting, I encourage you to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you for that great presentation. Now on to the judges.
Thanks, Jasmine. Great to learn about you guys. First question about the pricing point / positioning of Kinoko against other, let's say, protein sources.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. So our aim is to be at the same price point as tofu. We want to be, as affordable as it gets. We want to get there to that price of selling our product at $5 per kilo. And our estimation is that we are going to get there already with our first commercial production site that we are going to start building next year.
One question, the name, Kinoko, seems very similar to quinoa, and that could bring you some problems. So have you checked on that? And the second thing is, what analysis have you done to be sure that this is a nutritious option relative to other types of similar foods?
Yeah, of course. So the first question, actually, Kinoko is the Japanese word for mushroom. So I don't think it resembles quinoa and it will make us a problem, but definitely it will be a problem to trademark the product itself as Kinoko because it's actually a word in Japanese. And it's definitely something that we will consider to maybe do a renaming next year when we enter the US market. And the second question, we've done all of the analysis on this product. We've done the analysis showing that it's a high level of protein, the digestibility test. It's the same quality of protein from animal-based protein with all 9 essential amino acids. We've done the test with the nutritional dietary fibers. We've run all of the tests to show that this is really a super healthy food.
Can I just ask a very quick one? Technically, you're producing protein, but consumers don't buy protein. They buy meat or fish or vegetables. So what are you selling at the end of the day? Are you replacing mushrooms or are you creating other products?
So I will correct you. We are not producing protein. We are producing food which is high in protein, right? Because we are producing just, let's say, a burger. I'm growing this burger and it has 20% of protein, but it's not only the protein compartment. It's just the whole food. The whole burger that you can eat during your lunch, it has 20% of high quality protein, it has 10% of dietary fiber. It's just this really healthy food that you can eat. And we are aiming to sell it as the center of the plate, as the patties, sliders, meatballs, burgers, you name it.
Okay, great. Thank you for that explanation, Jasmine. So it looks like we are halfway through the pitches already. Thank you very much again to the 4 first startup finalists for your captivating pitches and for the insightful questions by our jury. So as the jury takes a deliberation break, I would like to share a special message from our XTC co-founder, Bill Tai. He's a legendary Silicon Valley venture capitalist as partner emeritus at Charles River Ventures and Prince Constantine of the Netherlands. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Bill Ty, and I just want to encourage all of you startups out there to join us in our journey at the Extreme Tech Challenge. We have now a worldwide platform where if you can kind of make it through that gauntlet and get to the top, you will get to tell your story to a host of entrepreneurs and investors and corporate partners around the world that might join you on your journey to build your company. So look forward to seeing you in the next cycle of the XTC.
So if you're a founder of a startup, you want to make a real impact and you want to go global, then the best platform you can choose is Extreme Tech Challenge. So you can join because you'll meet new friends, entrepreneurs, people that can show you how to build a big business, but also potential clients, investors, and others. So joining such a community can really be an incredible boost for your company and for your ambitions. So join Extreme Tech Challenge Benelux and make sure that you get all the opportunities that this program can give you.
And now, so we move on. Sorry. It is my pleasure to turn the floor over to Kazuki Kitagawa. Oh, sorry, I pronounced your last name wrong.
Kitaoka. It's a little bit like kinoko, like the thing that we saw before. Yeah.
Right, thank you. Yeah, FAO's head of outreach, marketing and reporting unit, and the global coordinator of the Food Forum coordinator.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for introducing me. But actually, it is not about me. I'm here with our ambassador from Israel, Ambassador Yael Rubinstein. Perhaps you can come on stage with me, and let's see if we have a microphone for you, because I mean you must be so proud about Kinoko. No, that is amazing what happened here. So, but actually we are here to talk about another project that you're doing with young people, young kids in Israel. And this is a really amazing project that was done as a challenge as well amongst different schools in Israel. But Ambassador, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, you're doing an amazing job. So, so good afternoon, everybody. Yes, my name is Yael Rubinstein. I'm the Israeli ambassador to the Rome-based agencies. And we decided that since we are talking about Agenda 2030, and the future obviously will be dealt with in few years, we thought about having the youngsters, the young schools, to be involved more in what we have to do and what we need to achieve. So we established a competition among high schools in Israel. There were about 60 high schools in Israel. And the idea was for them to choose one, let's say, SDG, and to identify one country that they feel they're more close to, and to try to find together a solution. And we called it ISDG because it's Israel SDG. And the finalists were 7 high schools. Their prize was to come to Rome. They came to Rome last June, and then they introduced their projects in front of the management of FAO and many ambassadors, and it was really, really, really a great success. So I'm here very, very proud to introduce 2 out of the 7 schools. So the first one, are they online?
And I think we have them on Zoom direct from Israel.
Yes.
So
the first one is Hein Mahel School with their teacher, Hannah. I hope it will be.
Hi, we hear you.
Oh, you're here.
Oh, now we can see you. Hello, hello. How are you?
Hi.
Good to see you again. Good to see you again. So I would like them to introduce themselves and really to tell us about their project, their initiative, and their conclusion. So, girls, the floor is yours, please.
Okay, 1 minute. Okay. Hello, everyone. We want to introduce you our research. soil surface stabilization of shifting sand in Sudan, and preparation of sandy soil for agriculture. My name is Haraz Rakir. I am Alina Boulel. I am Hanin Amin. And I am Zainab Aboulel. Before presenting, let's think together about one of the most difficult problems facing humanity at the beginning of the third millennium, and that is the problem of the world hunger. In our research, we offer a solution to the problem that can solve many developing countries.
We decided to create a collaboration with Sudan for our project. Sudan is a country in Northeast Africa, which is produced with the Central African Republic. It has a population of 45.7 million people as of 2022. It was the largest country by area in Africa, and the Arab League got into the situation of South Sudan in 2011. Historically, agriculture remains main source of income and employment hitting over 18%. Why did we choose Sudan?
Girls, you are not present on the presentation.
We presented.
اعملوا تمكين تحرير واعملوا بعدين تعارض.
نعيده كمان مرة ولا كيف؟
لا فيش داعي، بس اعملوا تمكين تحرير.
يلا، مع إنه إحنا عارفين.
Hey, can you still see us and hear us over there? No, it seems that we have a connection.
Can you see us? Can you see us? We can see you.
You can actually go ahead with your presentation. They don't hear us, right? Oh. What?
Yeah, it seems that we have a technical issue with the connection. Oh no, here we are back. Okay. So it is about Sudan.
We decided to create a collaboration with Sudan for our project. Sudan's country in Northeast Africa is produced with the Central African Republic. It has a population of 45.7 million people as of 2022. It was the largest country by area in Africa, and the Arab League entered the situation of South Sudan in 2011. Historically, agriculture remains the mine of income and employment hitting over 18%. Why did we choose Sudan? In Sudan, the official language is Arabic, so we can communicate with them more effectively. We choose the Sahara region in particular for the pilot science stretch across 12 North African countries. When our project professes success, we trust that we can then apply it in other countries, thus helping more people.
957,000 square kilometers of Sudan land area is classified as sands, making it difficult to manage agriculture in these areas and emission solution to be found. Our project aims to stabilize Sudan shifting sands, address the enormous problem caused by sandy soil. And when such wide area in Sudan can be used for agriculture, food, maybe for profit of large population, as well funding employment for increasing number in the agriculture industry. So how shall we do it?
In our project, we have decided to use a cyanobacteria, which is a soil filamentous organism capable of colonizing, growing, and developing in dry regions. Cyanobacteria bears most of the responsibility for the formation of biological soil crusts and hence the stabilization of shifting sands. So, how shall we do it? Here you can see the different stages we are going to explain to each on separately. 1. Selecting the appropriate type of cyanobacteria for the Sudan pilot execution area. 2. Growing of cyanobacteria in a laboratory under fluorescent lighting and on BG11 growing medium or in greenhouse. 3. Drying and pulverization of cyanobacteria ground. 4. To accelerate the process, clays are also scattered. 5. Production of solution from the cyanobacteria powder and clays with water 10 gram cyanobacteria dry wick to 1 liter of water. 6. Spraying of solution from spraying drawn over desired sandy area during the wet season. We took these photos when we visited from the field for a similar successful project in Israel, the Negev. After carrying out all the research and experiment stages, the results will appear as follows. 1. appearance of biological soil crust. 2. Utilization of surface runoff and reduced infiltration of water into the soil aerobsphere. 3. After at least 3 weeks, the soil may be seen to be holding and stabilizing with erosion by wind and water also prevented. 4. Appearance of seed-bearing vegetation.
The picture shows biological soil crust and wet ground next to it. Water does not pretend underground.
It is possible to grow millet and sorghum in a state of wheat.
Gum Arabic, also known as gum sudanite, was collected from acacia trees. Egyptian balsam serves a variety of purpose. In addition to medicinal properties, the mixture of the dew is high to adaptability. It can be used as a windbreak and shade tree in agriculture and horticulture for dessert.
Wow. Wow, this is really amazing. Thanks so much. We are a little bit low on time, but I would like to know from you girls, how old are you and in which school are you actually in Israel? Can you hear us?
We're 16 years old. We are from El Mahel village in school high in El Mahel learning.
Wow, that's really amazing.
16 years old and from Arab village in the north of Israel.
Really amazing. Thanks so much for connecting today. What was your best moment when you were working on this project that you just presented? And it's really, really impressive what you have been doing.
When we go to the Negev and see the cyanobacteria in this project, we in bases in the volcano, we see the project in Israel that we see the cyanobacteria and the land in Israel in the Negev area. Yeah.
That's really nice. Thank you so much, and thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you,
girls. And hopefully next time you will be in Rome as well with us. And thank you so much.
We have another group that are waiting.
I think we are first going back to the, and then we're going to the other group.
Perfect.
But Ambassador, you're with us here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much as well.
Yeah, and thank you for being here. Thank you for that presentation. It was truly energizing to hear from these innovative students. We hope they have inspired many more youths to innovate for a better future. I certainly hope that many more entrepreneurs will apply to the Extreme Tech Challenge. While our judges return to the stage, we would like to share a few words from the winner of the Better Nutrition Startup Award last year. Here's Rebecca White, CEO of Pebble Labs.
Hi, my name is Rebecca White, and I'm the CEO of Pebble Labs. It's my pleasure today to tell you about how the Extreme Tech Challenge has influenced Pebble Labs' work. It's been beneficial for us in many ways. The opportunity to showcase our work on a global stage and interact with international experts has been fantastic in and of itself. But the visibility that it created for Pebble Labs and the other companies that participate is simply outstanding. We've received inquiries from potential investors, collaborators, customers, and even consumers that are interested in supporting our technology. And for a small, young company like Pebble Labs to participate in such an impactful platform is just invaluable. Additionally, the follow-up from the judges in our category has been incredible. They're genuinely interested in our success and have reached out to support us in the unique ways that they can. Pebble Labs was humbled to be selected as a finalist and elated to win the Better Nutrition category. We're energized and inspired by the response to our presentation and the award. The Extreme Tech Challenge is a unique and highly valuable opportunity, and I highly encourage other startups to apply and participate. It's well worth the time.
Well, I shall agree to that. And welcome back to the second half of the Extreme Tech Challenge Startup Innovation Awards. Let's meet the finalists of the Better Environment category. The startups in this category focus on protecting, restoring, and promoting the sustainable use of ecosystems while also combating climate change through more efficient, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable agri-food systems. So, our first finalist in the Better Environment category is Habitare, a US-based startup providing in-depth intelligence for agricultural land, including crop, water, nutrition, and carbon from above ground to below ground, with objective of transforming the agricultural industry. Welcome to the stage, Nick Rinke, CEO of Habiter.
Well, thank you all for the opportunity to be here. As was mentioned, my name is Nick Rinke. I am the CEO of Habiter. We should have slides coming up in just a second here. All right. So I don't have to tell anybody in this room the urgency of climate action needed and the urgent need to reduce global emissions, especially in the world of agriculture, where we account for about a quarter of total global emissions. Now, there's a lot of exciting stuff happening in this marketplace. Agricultural carbon markets are advancing, climate commitments coming from the public sector, private sector, companies investing in this. But as is the case everywhere in climate change, we need more action, we need it faster, we need more transformative investment. One of the key barriers to that investment in agriculture is the ability to quantify these emissions, quantify these impacts at scale. And traditional methods to quantify this are typically resource and cost prohibitive, and they frankly just don't scale. So these environmental impacts, one of the major challenges in ag is there's extremely high spatial variability, not just from cropping regions, but from one field to the next, you can see extreme variability. So Habiter is dedicated to solving exactly this problem. So there are a number of technologies out there in remote sensing, geospatial, environmental modeling, but Habiter's system of systems solution is truly unique in this space. We seamlessly integrate numerous sources of observational data with best-in-class agro-ecosystem domain science and AI to drive for scale. So this technology has been vetted across a large ecosystem with over $25 million of grant-funded research and validation of the tech. With that, we can achieve the right mix of scalability and accuracy to support farmer decision-making at the field level, high-resolution quantification for carbon markets, and lower fidelity, large-scale quantification for Scope 3 emissions targets. So even the best technologies don't scale themselves. You need an incredible team behind them to drive the scaling and development of that tech. Habiter has just that kind of a team, starting with our founder, Dr. Kayu Guan. Kayu is a true innovator and pioneer in agro-ecosystem modeling. As far as myself, I come from a lifetime and career in agriculture, starting with a family farm in North Dakota, and then about a decade in agricultural services, including most recently the launch of a true end-to-end full value chain carbon marketplace. The rest of the team combines to bring together decades more ag, biofuel, science, and technology expertise, positioning us not to just keep up with this rapidly evolving market, but to truly lead. So since company inception in 2019, we've generated significant commercial traction, moving from pilot projects to year-over-year recurring revenue projects, leveraging the scale of this technology. And one of the most exciting bits of news for us recently was as part of the USDA Climate Smart Commodities Grant, in which we were one of the largest recipients of that entire grant program, providing quantification services for this at the scale of millions of acres in true investment in regenerative agriculture. Building upon this success, we are proactively building out a historic farm practice database and greenhouse gas database, again from the bottom up, starting at the field level and aggregating to scale across the entire US. And we're going to continue expansion on top of existing pilots that we have in Canada, South America, Australia, and other geographies as well. So it's an honor to be here. We believe this is a truly global technology that can make a transformative difference in unlocking financing in ag. And we look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Nick. Just to understand a little bit about Habiter, what is the forecasting capabilities of your system?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I know we don't have time to go deep into the tech, but it's really important to understand that there are certain systems that can do rough estimations, and then there are other systems that are truly replicating crop growth processes at the field level and using observational data to constrain those models. So that's what we do. And as such, we are bringing in all the environmental inputs, farm management inputs, and we can do forecasts up to 10 years in the future. Obviously, those forecasts are dependent upon big assumptions about what the weather is going to do and things like that. But we can do field-level forecasts for a farmer specific to their history, their cropping rotation, their weather patterns, and their soil types to say what difference would it make, not just in soil carbon, but nitrous oxide emissions and methane.
So what will be the market for carbon sequestration, especially when you have multiple crops and not only one?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and that gets into the whole market mechanisms question, where for us, we're really focused on quantifying as accurately as possible at the highest resolution possible. So we talk about carbon markets and carbon sequestration. I think that's a great question. Through the crop rotation, it's really hard to measure that on a year-to-year basis. You see very different sequestration in a corn crop versus soy through that rotation, and then you have the issue of permanence that was raised earlier. How do you make sure those practices stay in place? Now, for us, I think there's great opportunities in the soil carbon market. You know, you can sequester as much as a ton per acre per year in really advanced practices. However, personally, I'm most interested in different evolutionary market mechanisms that maybe we actually pay for the embedded carbon characteristics of that crop as it moves through the value chain. So we get more advanced in a carbon offset. We remove some of those challenges around maintaining farm practices in a dynamic system for decades that are required of a carbon market. And you get into a place where now we can incentivize farmers sort of in real time for adopting the right practices. So kind of a messy answer, but I'm excited for the next evolution of this market going beyond just offsets.
Thank you very much. Are you predicting yields and harvest, or are you just looking at these geobiophysical parameters that you're looking at? And if you're predicting yields and harvest, at which pixel level are you doing it, and which kind of crop masks are you using to do that? How do you identify the crops? How do you get the labels to do that? Thank you.
Yeah, great questions. So short answer, yes, we are predicting yields. We can go back historically and highly accurately estimate the yields that happen in that field in past years. And we are also doing in-season predictive yield forecasting. That's actually been one of our most popular services, and that is dependent upon the same technology that we use to do the agroecosystem model. That's just one of the main inputs to it. So being able to do that accurately is a key technology that ladders up into everything else. Current focus for us has been around primary large-scale commodity row crops like corn, soybeans, wheat, things like that. But the technology applies really well to anything where we can remotely sense the biomass. And we're looking at daily biomass productivity and daily photosynthetic productivity. So you see really high resolution ideas of how much progress did that plant make on that individual day in that field. Resolution we're working with right now is down to a 10-meter resolution. We can do lower than that, but we just haven't seen a commercial case to justify the investment in the imagery yet. But we're getting great results, and every customer that we worked with on yield forecasting is increasing the size of their project because of our accuracy.
Well, thank you, Nick. Thank you very much for that great presentation. And then next on stage, let's welcome the second finalist in the Better Nutrition category, Mitero, a US-based startup redefining circular economy in which plant-based and animal-based agricultural wastes are upcycled and engineered to replace microplastics in the food, home care, and fashion industries. Unfortunately, we cannot welcome Robert today, but we can certainly watch his presentation, but the Q&A will not happen. Yeah.
Microplastic is one of the most detrimental and urgent global health crises that we need to solve in the world right now. Studies have shown that microplastic is found in food and water we drink, and even in newborn babies. In fact, microplastic is happening to our life every single day. 20 billion of these PVA synthetic plastic wrapped dishwasher and laundry pods are being produced in the US every single year. These pods dissolve in water, becomes microplastic, and flow into the ocean. 8,000 tons of these PVA microplastic are entering the oceans and becoming a part of the food we eat and the water we drink. It has become a major public health crisis. To solve this major issue, my company, Mitero, has developed a patented technology that can upcycle different type of inedible biomass waste and even plastic waste through the bacteria we grow. These bacteria will then produce bio-based polymer that we needed that can be made into these materials good for our planet. The process is very much like brewing beer, using precision fermentation and artificial intelligence to create this USDA bio-based certified product. We are the world's first and only PVA alternative bio-based solution. Right here, you're seeing this machine called twin screw extruder, which is the conventional plastic machine that we can use to create these resins you see here that we supply to our partners. There's no change required to existing plastic equipment, makes it easy adoption for our manufacturing partners. The commercial value of our solution has really reached $25 billion. Aside from the detergent laundry pots, our material can also be used as paper coating, binder, textile reagent, adhesive, and even contact lenses that people wear every single day. Here is a unique partnership that we have developed by Anheuser-Busch InBev Unilever, in which they co-funded us to create the world's first 100% bio-based laundry pots made from bio-waste.
Our partnership with Metero, it's a great partnership. You know, they're taking agricultural waste and converting into a protein that can be used as a plastic replacement. So yeah, this is exciting.
We're showing the world that protein not only can be used for food, but also be used to end microplastic. These companies are our clients that have either already paid us, signed letter of interest, or signed MOU. This year alone, we have captured interest from 66 customers. We currently have a capacity of 10 tons in annual production. We have a team of PhDs, MBA, and serial entrepreneurs. I have started 3 companies with 2 acquisitions. Our head R&D has 25 years of experience in protein polymer and chemistry. By 2030, we anticipate to start manufacturing on 100,000 tons of annual production. That will give us $400 million in annual revenue and making us the largest bio-based PVA alternative solution provider in the world. By 2030, we're going to upcycle 40 million tons of agricultural waste that can help us to replace 5% of all PVA manufactured in the world, also saving us 100 million cubic metric of water use. As a result, we estimate to reduce 100 million tons of total CO2 emission. Compared to food tech, we have a simpler route to market. There's no FDA approval needed, no grants needed, and we have a segmented market with higher paying customers. In fact, our customer is currently paying us 3 times the price of conventional PVA because they believe this is the future. It's very clear that nobody wants to drink microplastic. For the sake of a green and safe future for your children, please join us. Let's drink more beer and reduce more microplastic together. Thank you.
That was Robert Liu from Metero. Thank you for that presentation. And we will now move on to the last category, Better Life. The startups in this category focus on the promotion of inclusive economic growth by reducing inequalities such as those between urban and rural areas, rich and poor countries, and men and women. Our first finalist in the Better Life category is AgUnity, an Australia-based startup developing and deploying low-cost, blockchain-based technology solutions to build efficient digital supply chains from farmer to consumer. Welcome on stage, David Davies, CEO of AgUnity. Oh, the clicker. Oh, yes, the clicker. Tech team. Oh, we have the clicker. Thank you.
I'll just start while we go. So hi, I'm David Davies, the founder of AgUnity. And we take simple, low-cost smartphones like this one here, and we transform them to meet the needs of the very lowest income farmers in the most remote regions of the world. I just came this weekend from Ethiopia, where we've enabled all these farmers, like thousands more in a dozen other countries, to increase their income, access a marketplace and other services that they've never had before. And there's actually over 500 million micro farmers around the world. Many of them earn only a couple of dollars a day, live in areas where there's very poor connectivity. They often have low literacy, Most of them have never had any technology or access to a bank account or financial services before. And there's lots of incredible technologies we can use to improve the world's food supply chains. But if we don't make sure we fix the problems of those 500 million farmers, we're going to leave a lot of them behind. We're going to create a have and have not situation which has dire consequences for the world. And what is their greatest problem? Well, these farmers that we work with every day operate at a fraction of their potential. There's an inordinate amount of food goes to waste in their communities because of poor supply chains. And we've seen some of our projects where the whole village has increased their income by 3 times. Not because really of what we do, because we create trust and cooperation between those groups of farmers. And we do that just by giving them a simple smartphone. But you can't just give them a normal smartphone off the shelves. We adapt that phone so it meets their specific needs and solves the real problems. So what are their problems? A lot of those farmers, a lot of the crops that they produce just don't get to market because of inefficiencies in supply chain, lacks of communications. Once you've got an AgUnity phone, they can coordinate and cooperate to make sure that does. The economies tend to be cash-based, and that's an incredible problem. It means that the buyer takes a lot of risk. And because the buyer takes a lot of risk, the farmers get lower prices. Once you become a system where they can hand over crops, the prices the farmers get go up. And there's another very important problem. This applies particularly to women farmers, which are a majority of the small farmers. That when they get cash, it's very hard for them to save for things, and they're always at risk of being robbed or have that money go from them. Whereas when they've got an AgUnity system, they can order stuff like a solar kit or pay for farm supplies or school fees directly from the platform. To do this, we create a phone that's got really large icons with geometric symbols so it works for people with low literacy. We change the way the phone communicates so it works in regions where there's no connectivity. And we create a platform where other parties can create applets on our phone, like Fairtrade does, so that the farmers can access other services in an integrated way. And finally, this all allows us to do traceability from source. So we're working with organisations like Fairtrade and the World Coffee Association and the biggest farmers cooperative in the world, Oromia Cooperative in Ethiopia, to provide traceability right from those farmers to the coffee shops. So you can sit and enjoy your coffee in the coffee shop, see the actual farmers that grew your coffee, and release a tip to them in real time. And hopefully, soon we'll have the ability that they can say thank you. And I think that's just a lovely story. Thank you very much, and I look forward to the questions.
Thanks very much for the presentation. Can you tell us a little bit about the AgUnity team and who else besides you, David, is there making it up?
Sure. I'm very proud that we've got a team of over 50 people of very diverse backgrounds spread across 19 countries. Our team comes from a background of our technologists often come from investment banking technology. Now that's very important because we can connect to financial services and other things in ways that a lot of other startups don't have the experience to do. We've got a lot of people from NGO backgrounds that work in the field to help train the farmers. And then we've got an incredible operational support team backing that up.
Quick question. The issue with these agtechs often is that it's very specific to a specific value chain or specific segment. It's not scalable. Which value chains are you covering with this, first? And second, your gadget goes to farmers. How do other value chain actors access it?
Sure. So firstly, our system adapts for many people on the value chain. So in, say, Sierra Leone, we've got 4 different workers, and they all have AgUnity phones, but they're just configured in different ways. So sorry, that's the second question. But the first question, we work in everything from African indigenous vegetables in Kenya, where we work with Virginia Tech and USAID, coffee in Ethiopia, cacao in Papua New Guinea, and we're now working with World Fish Organization to do a lot of projects in the fishing industry around the world. So we've designed this to be very diverse in what it handles, and that really comes from the fact that it is a very simple grassroots application.
Maybe one last question. Lack of transparency today goes to the benefit of plenty of stakeholders in the value chain, right? So how do you have these guys to embrace, in a way, your solution and not fight against it? Because you come to the benefit of the producer, yet you disrupt the other guys, in a way.
Yeah, actually, AgUnity hosted the event for the World Coffee Association very recently, and they conveyed that their primary problem is interoperability. They're dealing with bespoke systems in multiple different countries, and no coffee company buys from one country. So they need interoperability more than anything else, and AgUnity, via also our partner company, which we're a founder of, Tracingly, provides that open platform. Like, I come from banking, so I best analogize it to what Bloomberg or Reuters do in the financial industry, that you can go to their platform and you can see all the data. That's the role we and our partner Tracingly do in those industries, which is extremely well regarded by the food industry because it solves their biggest problem.
Thank you, David. Perfect. Yeah, it was a great presentation. Thank you. And now, let's welcome the second finalist in the Better Life category. And this is going to be the final presenter today. Diatrix. It's a Singapore-based startup shifting the ingredient innovation paradigm by leveraging nanotechnology. By combining food and biomaterial sciences, they seek to create a healthier lifestyle for consumers while still having good taste of the food. Thank you, Diatrix. And now welcome on the stage, Jan Ting, CEO of Diatrix. The microphone is just there.
Hi everyone, I'm Yan Ting and I'm representing Diatrix today. Should probably just wait for the slides to turn on. Yeah, so there has been lots of technologies. I think it got really everyone very, very excited, including myself. Very excited about the technologies. Right, so so here I am today to introduce to you Diatrix, Southeast Asia's first nanofiber food ingredient company that aims to provide tasty, healthier and natural foods. Before I begin, just a quick question to the audiences. Can you imagine having a piece of cake that tastes so good but does not make you grow fat? I think that's every woman's dream, at least for myself. Yep. So that brings me to the vision of Diatrix, which is to create a healthier world where we get to enjoy the food we love without any worries. And its mission is to explore the possibilities of nano food technologies to create tasty, healthier food with a sustainable approach. So the very first problem that we are looking at is obesity, the worst leading risk factor for chronic diseases and premature deaths. In Asia, we are looking at about 15% of adults who are obese and 30% of adults who are overweight. The main reasons why obesity is tough to resolve is because it's tough to change a habit. Oftentimes, people are unwilling to compromise on taste, and sometimes social economic reasons just make it tough to access healthy food. So our product, the very first product, is cellulose nanofiber, a patented technology that is a joint discovery between Harvard and Nanyang Technological University of Singapore. Our value proposition is this powder does not alter sensory experience. It reduces fat absorption by 36%, and it comes from natural and sustainable sources. So here are some of the potential food applications that we look at, its respective market sizes, and below are some of the food companies that we would love to work with. So how cellulose nanofiber works is that it binds directly to the fat molecules, thereby reducing surface area to volume ratio for lipase activity. Our market competitors like oleogels, what they do is that they replace part of the food formulation, they alter the food matrix, and that to reduce the fat content, which can be cumbersome for food manufacturers in itself. The other competitors include soluble fiber, which is indirect and subjective, depending on individuals' gut microflora, as well as our responses to the satiety hormones itself. So in the long run, I think what Diatrix imagine ourselves to be is to be a lot more effective and affordable at the nano scale. So we are aligned with the UN SDG in terms of providing better nutrition, reducing the burden of non-communicable diseases, as well as sustainable production. We look at our main source of revenue stream coming from direct sales of the ingredient to food manufacturers. We have incorporated into chocolate, coconut, and vanilla ice cream, and we have secured an industrial partner in Asia, with manufacturing facilities in Asia. So what we envision is lifestyle changes, enjoying life moments with your family and friends without having to worry about what you eat. Our commercialization team, we have Dr. Philip, who is a food toxicologist from Harvard. We have Dr. Ng and Dr. Joachim, who are biomaterial scientists who looks at the functionality of food product. Myself, I'm a food science graduate and previous experiences in food services. Firm believer that food forms a very important social cultural aspect of our everyday lives, and that brings me to Diatrix. We envision life changes with nanotechnology itself. Thank you.
A question. So if I am a believer of gut microbiome, the effects could be different depending on my gut microbiome. So how you have tested the impact of this to get to the conclusion that it will make me look thinner and nicer?
Thank you for your question. So for this, when we did the comparison, so we have done the acute toxicity, in vivo acute toxicity. So when we compare the effects of this nanofiber to the soluble fiber in terms of postprandial triglycerides level, what we see is that with the soluble fiber out there, we are looking at about 10% of concentration to reduce the triglycerides level post-absorption by 50%. Whereas for nano ingredient itself, this nanofiber, just at 1%, we are looking at a 36% reduction in fat absorption, like the triglycerides level. Yeah.
Tell us about the first markets that you're moving into and what type of regulatory issues do you face with this particular product?
Yeah, because it's nanotechnology, so definitely we still have to go through the route of the regulatory approval. We are looking at US FDA as well as Singapore side SFA. In terms of regulatory concerns, I don't think we have too much concerns on our end because cellulose itself is already being used in food ingredients, ice cream as stabilizers, emulsifiers, so that should not be an issue. In terms of absorption of the nano ingredient into our body, I think we are at a scale whereby it's not diffused actively into the cell membrane of our cells in the stomach lining itself. So in terms of food safety, I think we are okay. It should not be an issue itself. In terms of go-to-market strategy, right now, previously we have won a Tech Planter Glyco Award, a Japanese MNC Glyco itself. So we are talking to them in terms of a potential project to incorporate this cellulose nanofiber into their food product. We also have another Swiss MNC that is looking at the valorization of, because nanotechnology, what we're looking at is also valorizing the waste from fibrous food waste material. So for now, we are looking at the cellulose, the fiber aspect. What we have in plans is also looking at the protein aspect as well as future the fat aspect itself. So that itself could also open up to greater market in terms of the go-to-market strategy. Yeah.
One last. Go-to-market, what does it take for you, or how long does it take? What's the process like between the first touch point with a customer, so a food company, where they start experimenting, all the way to the point where there is a product that hits the market and you start actually generating revenues?
Right. So right now, the greatest hurdle is the regulatory approval part, which we should not expect too much of a problem itself. But regulatory process takes about 9 to 12 months minimally. Yeah, so that would be the process. Meanwhile, what we are doing right now is to also look at various food applications as much as possible, get ourselves ready. So once we hit the market, we hit it with multiple food applications.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you. Thank you, Jan. Great presentation. Thank you. Well, and that wraps up the 8 pitch presentations today. Their work to advance breakthrough innovations for a better world is truly inspiring. And now, while the jury deliberates on selecting the winners, we can watch the second part of the innovation program of the Israel Ambassador program. And yeah, I would like to invite you back on stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Amazing, amazing projects and startups that we are talking. But Ambassador, over to you again with the second group from another school.
Yeah, thank you. The second group is going to be for 4 girls from Midreshet Bet Kama Yerucham, and the project is fighting hunger with locusts. So,
wow.
Girls, please.
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you. Hi from Rome.
Hi, good afternoon. We are students at Kama High School in Yerucham, Israel, and our goal is to try and fight hunger. The project is one of the winning projects at the competition of ISDG, Israel's Sustainable Development Goals, and we presented it to the FAO last June. We are Sarit, Ayelet Zachar, Oria, and Tiferet. Our proposal to establish a collaborative relationship between Ethiopia and Israel to find ways to end hunger and improve food security worldwide. We chose Ethiopia because many people immigrated to Israel from Ethiopia and they are part of our nation. Studying Ethiopia revealed that economics rely on agriculture. Due to that fact, if there is a drought and it does not rain, the fields dry up and both crops and animals suffer severely. Thus, we can see periods of hunger during droughts, as in 1983 and 2015.
In addition to the droughts, in the right conditions, certain types of locusts can swarm and produce up to millions of new locusts. In 2020, the desert locust was spreading throughout Ethiopia and caused severe damage to vegetation and agriculture. Our idea is to use the locust as a source of nutrition. As you know, eating insects is not new. We discovered during our research that growing locust is already known to both business owners and the UN. Locusts have significant nutritional, ecological, and economic benefits. The locust nutritional values are high. The efficiency of converting food into biomass in insects is high. The locust is native to Ethiopia. Therefore, no special resources are needed to sustain it. Our idea is to adapt the concept of growing locusts to enable a single-family agricultural venture side by side with traditional agriculture by using simple plastic cells. Each family will own a cell for breeding locusts. We suggest using a cheap and common plastic container with lockable lid. The plastic tray is for stabilizing small cans that contains soil for laying eggs, water for the pole stems, food additive.
The small unit could be moved easily from one side of the yard to another, thus enabled to choose the exact microclimate. Each farmer can decide how many cells to construct and maintain. A group of farmers could grind enough locust into flour and even use a packing process to sell to others. Both the locust and the vegetation needed to grow it are local, familiar, and available. This new agricultural venture would exist alongside the traditional cattle raising until it can expand and possibly replace some of it. Our initial intention was that the locust would be used for human consumption, eating as is, or dried into a powder as a food additive. Eating insects as they are is common in Morocco, in Africa, and also in Yemen, but not in Ethiopia. Thus, we found out that it is worthwhile to examine the feeding of farm animals as well, and not focus only on human nutrition. We chose Mekelle district, the capital of the state of Tigray in North Ethiopia, as the location to establish the preliminary trial. The northern region of Ethiopia is more arid and therefore suffers more in times of drought. Mekelle also has a population engaged in hog farming, which is our target audience. We have received the approval of Cultivate, an Israeli organization which is engaged in implementing agricultural innovations together with Ethiopian roots studying in Kalamino to establish an experimental locust farm. This organization will be able to help mediate between us, Israeli youth, and the Ethiopian youth. In order to implement a first-year pilot in Ethiopia, we need a total of $45,500, both to make the sales and to seek professional guidance and support. $750 will be used for the sales themselves, while $44,600 will go for the professional advice and implementation in Ethiopia. We ask for your help to make this project a reality and help create a stable, sustainable agricultural economy. As much as we are proud of this idea, it would not exist if it weren't for all the people we met during our walk. Each one contributed a new aspect that made us change our way of thinking or add accuracies. We would like to thank them for being there along the way, giving us relevant pieces of knowledge and different direction of thought, enabling us to adapt our idea into reality. A special thanks go to Yoram Tzvik, Director of the Dukifat Association for Burning and Ecology, who introduced us to the world of locusts. We believe our project could create a sustainable food production system and bring food security to local families and farmers. Thank you for listening.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This is really amazing. Just one question. How old are you girls?
Some of us are 15 and some of us are 16. We started 2 years ago, so we were 12 and 13.
13 and 14 when you started. That is really amazing. Thank you so much for joining us here today on this global stage. And Ambassador, just perhaps one last question. So what is the next steps? I mean, these are amazing. This could take part basically in the Extreme Tech Challenge, no? They're looking, oh, here they are. Hi.
Yeah, they are really amazing. I mean, it was quite difficult and very easy, I would say, selection of project to select just 7 schools out of 50 or 60 that were competing. But I mean, they were really, really amazing, and their ideas, it's really coming really out of the box completely. So we're very proud of them. Thank you.
Fantastic. Great and huge congratulations to you girls in Israel. And yeah, back to you guys. And I hope that there was some inspiration for you, no? This is
definitely.
Not only definitely for the grown-ups, the kids actually show us.
Yeah. Thank you, Kazuki. Thank you also.
Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Yes, thank you for presenting, for giving us some insights here on this fantastic innovation program. It's truly inspiring. And now I would like to pitch in Nancy, which is my colleague for the Extreme Tech Challenge. She's our strategic program manager, and she's going to host a panel about global social responsibilities on purpose-driven innovation. So please enjoy Nancy. She's here live from California, by the way. It's early morning for you. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, everyone. It's great to have all our panelists here today, digging into the topic of how corporations and startups can team up to make a positive social and environmental impact in the world. But first, I'd like to welcome last year's Startup Innovation Award winners back to the global stage, James and David. Welcome back. So we're going to dive right into our conversation. So James, what has been Bondi Bio's experience working with different stakeholders to leverage an ecosystem of shared value?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm dialing in from Sydney, Australia. We've had a generally positive experience working with certainly industry stakeholders. The business is just 4 years old and 8 people, so we're a minnow when it comes to a global ecosystem. But we realize we need to work in multidiscipline groups to take our technology to market and to bring our solution to the world. So we convert CO2 into high value products and nutritional supplements using blue-green algae, cyanobacteria. And so we ultimately need big investments in hardware and large manufacturing facilities. We also need to get that CO2 from our existing producers. And so we've been having a lot of interaction with large multinational organizations where we're needing to find internal champions that can promote ourselves within those businesses and get to the decision makers to then allow us to work with them to roll out our technology with these multi-stakeholder groups.
That's great, James. And then David, what are some of the key factors that Wasteless consider when partnering with other corporations? Did David drop off? And then I'll throw that question to either Kukai or is Jean-Michel with us? All right, I will get your impact investor perspective then, Kukai. What are some of the things that investors are looking for when you are looking to invest in an early stage impact startup?
Of course, impact is the areas that we look for, in addition to obviously the potential for the financial returns. But in relation to working with the corporates, I think one thing to note is that early stage investors typically always look for some sort of traction, and that doesn't necessarily mean revenue, but working with corporates, especially the right one, if they're able to provide some sort of like meaningful commercial contract, anything to kind of test out that there's a demand from the market, that can actually help really generate sort of that traction that a lot of the early stage company investors are looking for, because that kind of proves that there's a needs for that.
That sounds great. And I see David joined us back. So David, we were just talking about that. There's an increasing movement among corporations to collaborate with entrepreneurs to kind of explore the disruptive innovation that's not only giving a direct positive impact on humanity and our planet, but also a strategic business edge. So for Wasteless, what are some of the key factors that your company consider when partnering with other corporations?
We're always partnering with corporations because what we do is we help supermarkets become more profitable by selling food they have already on the shelf. So we're actually dynamically pricing products with a shorter expiration date, which means you're always working with corporations. And we've been doing this for about 5 years. And we started out with a very green idea, with the idea of helping retailers decrease their carbon footprint. But within a couple of months, we actually discovered that being sustainable is less attractive to corporates than actually being profitable. So we've not changed our solution. We've actually changed our narrative, and the narrative is really that we help supermarkets become a lot more profitable. And preventing food waste is extremely powerful in doing that, because you've already spent all the time and the money and the effort. The food is already in your inventory. If you can then actually sell it rather than waste it, that's an attractive business case. So very short. Being sustainable is important. Being profitable is essential.
Thank you. And then I throw this question out for anybody.
Susan, I'm here. You may not see me. Do you see me on the stage? No.
Hi, Jean-Michel. How are you?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you for joining us. This question will be for you then. So how should corporations and startups approach these collaborations to get the most value out of them while still upholding their corporate social responsibility?
Yes. Okay, just so you know who I am, I'm Jean-Michel Voisard. I work with an organization called Chemonix, who works at implementing development programs. And we're a private organization, but we also we manage large-scale programs for USAID, and every year, throughout the world, we will inject about $40 million in small organizations that come with ideas. And a lot of the ideas that we've seen today are what we see at the very nascent stage. And I think that's an area where a private organization can help manage these seed development funds and get these small organizations to really tailor their product, adapt it, adjust them so that there's a real market fit. And we use that usually through the implementation of the programs themselves. So rather than being a company that goes and does the work, we'll work with the local private sector and help them develop solutions. So, you know, solutions like we've seen, like app-based farmer tracking or different types of approach like that, we will develop them locally and in some cases help organizations transform them. For example, a case we like was in Ukraine when the war broke out, for example. There was an application that connected with farmers, and we worked with them to repurpose it and adjust it so that the Ukrainian farmers could access finance quickly without going to banks, despite everything that happened to the infrastructure. And I think we're going to be having a harvest for next year, because I mean the big issue now is there going to be a grain harvest in Ukraine next year? And so all these is done through startups that pivot, that adjust their product, and collaboration with this kind of blended finance private sector programs, of which there are a lot across the world, and will generate, I hope, a breed of new startups that will come here next year, maybe from Nigeria, from Ethiopia itself, from Bangladesh. We've seen a group from India that is very interesting, and that's the drive that you know, some organization bring about.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Nancy, and all the panelists for these inspiring insights, really. Well, now I can welcome back the jury members and all the startup finalists, because it's time to announce the winners of the 4 categories and an overall winner for this year's competition. Isn't that exciting? So it's my honor to invite you back on stage, Beth, and yeah, on to you.
Great, thanks very much, Selena. Let me start by thanking all of our judges who participated in this event today. I know they are all very busy people, and for them to be a part of this really important event, I think just showcases their commitment, their enthusiasm, and the full support that they give to entrepreneurs and young people who are really looking to make a difference in the world. I also need to obviously extend a full congratulations to all of you who have participated in this challenge. Having even just made it here to the FAO building and to this very stage is an incredible achievement, and I think deserves the recognition from all of us. So can we just give a round of applause one time to everybody who has participated in today's events? I will say it was not necessarily an easy process for the jury. We see so much potential in each of the companies and each of the founders. It's very exciting for our future. But without further ado, we did have to make some selections. And so it's my pleasure to introduce and to announce to you the winners in each category. In the category of better production, our winner is Umami. And please give them a round of applause. Come to the stage, please. Thank you. We were really excited about the technology developments that are coming in this really important protein-driven, I'll let you present that. My hands are full, but thank you. Yes. Congratulations very much to you and to your team for all of the great work that you're doing. Please, you can stay on stage. In the category of better nutrition, the winner is Faunatech. And while he's coming to the stage, again, very impressed by the fact that you are really delivering important technology to farmers in some of the low-income countries, the farmers who need it the most. So congratulations and thank you to you. In the category of better environment, the winner is Matero. And while we saw that presentation by video, we hope that we can certainly get notification to their team about the important contributions that they are making to climate resilience, and by really making sure that we do a better job in using agricultural byproducts for the better. And in the last category of better life, the winner is Dietrix. Congratulations, you can join me on stage. I think we're all ready to try your products, but I think Maximo said he was ready to try first. So we'll make sure we all find an opportunity to get a taste. Congratulations again to all of you in each of these betters. And now we did have to make a decision about the overall winner in the 4 categories, and the winner is Selena Matero. And so unfortunately not able to join us. I understand we have a category, or a check, it's not a check, it's symbol that he is the winner. We've got, maybe you can just scooch a little bit from the, because we've got the founder on screen, and we probably at least need to make sure we get a good photo with all of us and with me in the background. Again, we were so impressed by not only the technology innovation and the partnerships that were being forged by this emerging company, but the real commitment to ensure that agriculture is truly a part of the solution to so many of the world's challenges, as opposed to being a part of the problem. And so we look forward to communicating with me and making sure that he and his team know about their great achievement. So with that, I will go ahead and pass that, Selena, to you. I want to again thank all of you for your great contributions, the great leadership you're demonstrating. Thank you again to the judges. Thank you to all of you who have been here with us, to those of you who have been watching online. Please make sure you follow the Extreme Tech Challenge and this partnership that has built between XTC and FAO to stay informed on upcoming competitions and events. There will be even more to come, particularly the competitions, Selena, that I think are coming for you as you lead up to the CES in January. So we'll let you maybe say a closing word, but let me just say we look forward to having you back here in FAO in the next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beth. That's very nice. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Yeah, can only agree with what you said. Thank you. And congratulations also from my end to all the winners. Well, so thank you very much. And like Beth just said, we hope for you to follow us on social media. We are presented on LinkedIn. And please stick around for the private sector showcasing initiatives fostering youth engagements, entrepreneurships, and innovation today, this afternoon. And yeah, I think we're ready to take a few photos. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
Are we listening? Are we planting seeds and finding better ways to build a better world? Find a better way to build a better world. Oh, there's a brand new generation. There's a brand new generation. Oh, for a brand new together.